Where is it?
Look at its giant, cute, kawaii eyes. In the picture, it has big kawaii eyes.
Dad, it's so cute. Hello, cougar.
He's the rules his eyes.
He does not speak human. He speaks kitty cat.
There's a hole in it. Emergency punch it.
Yeah,
keep messing with it.
I don't mess with it. I'm just holding it in my pocket right now.
Graydon, please get down from there.
Yawn.
It's a stool. Where's your other kitty cat friend?
This is how Minecraft
I'm glad we got to see one of them.
Pretty.
How many are in here? Two?
I don't know, maybe just the one.
No, there's two because there's two dens.
Oh, well, that doesn't mean there's two of them.
Yeah.
We have more than two toys for Ranger. Doesn't mean we have two dogs.
Wait, it did? Graydon, no. Why don't you just jump up, eat Hadley? There's fences.
Yeah.
There's fences.
Coyote.
It's a gentle kitty. It can leap over 20 feet vertically from a stationary position.
Its butt is in it. It's hard to see it, but it's in the den right back there.
Yeah.
They're sitting up.
Yeah.
You can see its little furry butt. See? Right there.
They wasted a whole bunch of that metal sheet on that one tree.
Well, so then it doesn't climb it.
And it can't jump. I mean, on that one tree in front of you.
Yeah.
So that it can't climb the tree right in.
But on every other one, there's two, and on that one, there's four.
Excuse me, sorry.
That's gonna kill the
They sure don't look that big when you see them dead on the road.
I see the bicodia.
The bicodia.
Bicodia. Hadley, what's up? Oh, Tegan, look what's in that plant. Look what's in that plant below you.
It's my...
An emoji thing?
Really? An emoji plant?
It's like, you're only gonna get my backside, so there.
This is the stupidest phone.
Get the emoji.
There's an emoji little keychain in the plant.
Look it. From McDonald's.
You're probably using it for a toy.
I remember last time we came here, they put like different spices and smells on
Oh,
the logs, so they
The
rub up
service
against the
area is
log.
over there, I bet, if you're getting ready to eat. It happens all the time.
I remember this from last year. Daddy, I remember this from last year. It's so cool, but it's so tiny.
A little bubble.
Dad, you need to come in here.
I'm filming a wolf.
I see it shaking.
No way.
There's two of them running around.
The hole is so hard to get through. Now since I'm so tall, it's harder.
Oh, there's one right there.
Oh, Hadley, get in that bubble. I think he might come in there.
He's right over there.
Here he comes. Oh, hold on. He stopped for a second.
Here's a goose.
He's right around the corner there. Oh, here he comes. Here he comes, guys. Guys, here he comes. Look.
Oh my God.
Do you see him?
Yes, he's right there. I didn't see him there.
Push the button, buddy. Push the button.
I can't believe that they still have these holes. I see one. Dad, there's actually 3.
Oh, there?
Can I hold that in here real quick?
Negative.
Only
You
real
keep
quick.
looking for wolves.
One second.
Hadley, no. That's pretty cool. The one walked right in front of you.
There's right there. And there's one over there.
Yeah. tried to sniff you. He loves wolves. Oh, see, look at it, they're just hanging out. Pretty cool.
There's a bird.
Right there.
On the rock. I don't see the bird. I don't see the bird. That's right in front of me.
Hello, bear.
He's so tired.
Yeah.
You're so clumsy.
I just ate a little girl, and now I'm gonna go lay down. Oh look, there's his salad over there on the rock.
Oh, there is his food.
Yeah, he just had a salad.
Put it on the bear. Show the bear. Hi, big fat bear.
His ear twitched. Pretty sure there's multiple bears.
Oh yeah,
Is there two?
he's the decoy. Well, I'm sure there's a couple in there.
He's the deep.
I see something moving back there, probably two. Do you have any brothers or sisters? Yep, okay.
Oh, okay. He's just like.
Over it. I'm trying to see if there's any more.
Well, and there's the. Eventually, we get up into that thing up there. We can look down on them.
I bet
Have we gotten to the turtles yet?
the honey
I'm telling you.
It's a honey container.
It's a honey slime.
Yes, good.
It's a bear that eats honey. 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 It's a honey bear. It's a honey bear. It's a honey bear. It's a honey bear. It's a bear that eats. Oh god, I thought that was a bear. It's a bear that eats honey. It's a honey bear.
Look at the little and the picnic thing.
Bear that eats honey. It's a honey.
Okay, Hadley, let's go. Although it's going to be run over by a
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but it's still cute.
Look,
Nice
he's
job.
on a picnic table.
Picnic basket.
I like you. Not you. You're me.
That's his little bear face.
The bear.
Oh my goodness, he's having a picnic.
Eating bushes.
And also,
Like green chip.
Stop eating the grass, dummy.
Uno, dos, tres, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10.
No, you
Uno,
messed
dos,
up.
tres,
So.
4, 5, 6.
It's
Simple process. So every year they go through the rather considerable burden of having to eat all that extra food, carry all this extra weight. When their antlers are covered in velvet, they have to be very, very careful of their antlers. They could actually, if they were to reduce the competition, because the females choose their mate for the year. Females choose. So the boys are going to kind of make sure there's no other males that the females are going to choose from, and they're going to impress the males. As far as the females are concerned, this is like a medical record. This says to the females, hey, I'm healthy, I have good genes, I'm going to have good babies, healthy babies, pick me for your mate for the season. So if you are a cow elk, and you have a choice between Brutus here or Fred, who do you pick? Brutus, right? Yeah. So Fred might be a Brutus in, 5 years or so, but not yet. It's a pretty clear choice for the cow elk. This male is bigger, he's been smart, he's survived, he's took care of himself, he has good genes, she's going to pick him. So every year, the males go through that process. Every year, just to get a date. Kind of puts high school in perspective, doesn't it? So, my habitat is a little house in Rainier, Washington. Your habitat might be a house or a condo, an apartment, maybe Graham or Spanaway or California. Wherever you live, wherever you get your food, your shelter, and your water, where you raise your little ones, that is your habitat. Main habitats we have here are wetland, forest, and meadow. So we look off to our left. That's an example of one of those habitats. What is that? Is that a meadow? Is that a forest? No, it's a wetland. And forest on the right. That was kind of a trick question. So on the left, it's a lake. It's called Horseshoe Lake. You might see some human habitats across the lake. Those were the homes of our benefactors, Doc and Connie Hellier. They're the ones who donated their 500 acres Northwest Track in the 71 or so, which became the park that we are enjoying today. So this lake here is a year-round lake, so it has animals in it that live in water year-round. So there's fish in there, there's frogs, turtles. There's a cute little muskrat that swims around. He looks like a tiny 6-inch long beaver, but he's a muskrat. Also animals that eat fishes and frogs and muskrats, such as hawks and eagles. You might see a coyote or a fox here occasionally. And every now and again, the larger animals will come and drink
They're over there.
out of that lake. And we have a lot of migratory animals too. We have a lot of ducks and geese. Straight in front of us, in the left one in the corner, we have a family of black-tailed deer. Black-tailed deer like to live with their families, a nuclear family like ours, so it'll be mom, dad, kids. Sometimes kids from last year, sometimes they'll join up with aunts, uncles, cousins, and grandparents. Black-tailed deer are smaller than the deer that you see east of the Cascades, mostly because they are a slow-growing and slow-maturing species. So if they have good diet and they're not hunted selectively to weed out the big ones, they can get up to 500 pounds. So I see a buck, some does, a couple fawns, and some Canada geese. So this is the very beginning of our meadow. Meadow is a small grassland. It's a large grassland, we just call it a grassland or a plain. Western Washington is dominated by forest, so when there's a meadow, it tends to be on the smaller side unless mankind created it. This one is about 25 acres, so it's on the smaller side, so we call it a meadow. Why they are called the black-tailed deer, is they have a black tail.
What do you think we're gonna do after this is over?
So one of our animals enjoy the meadow.
Walking around.
We have lots of deer out in the meadow today. We don't want to see this many all here all at once. So we might have some bighorn sheep up there. These are California bighorn sheep. And a completely different band, except for the breeding season when the males will come and try to get in with the female band. They're pretty much have shed their light-colored winter coat. Now they have their darker-colored summer coat. Which is good. They were looking pretty scruffy for a while.
Did he talk to you?
Contrasting against the summer coat, you can really see the white patch on their rump. That's a rump patch. A lot of prey animals have that feature. It's a warning flag, communication device. If one of them sees a predator, she'll flare up the hairs on that rump patch, and as she bounds away, all the other animals around, all the other prey animals within sight are going to see that bounding white thing, know there's danger, and they're just going to run away. They're not going to stop and see what it is or check it out first. They're just going to run first, ask questions later. This handsome fella on my left here, this is a male. He's kind of a young male. I know he's male because his horns are much thicker at the base. But I know he's young because they haven't curled all the way around very much. They're not very long. So remember with horns, the horns are on the animals for their entire life. So the bigger the horns, the older the animal. Some more black-tailed deer hanging out under the tree over there on the right. So we have a lot of deer, so I'm not going to stop and talk about them, everyone, because there's more deer than I have interesting things to say about deer. But they're pretty to look at. So bighorn sheep depend mostly on alpine meadows. That just means high altitude meadows. You can find them all over the mountains above 4,000 feet. They're very common in the Cascades, North Cascades, down in the Sierra Nevada, over in the Rockies. Also bighorn sheep. It's kind of hard to tell when they're far away how big they are, but if she was standing next to you, you'd be looking at her right in the eye. She's about 3 foot tall. If she were to open her wings, her flight feathers will stick out significantly on both sides of the tram. So they have an 8-foot wingspan. So when you get off the tram today, open your wings up, your hands, and see what your wingspan is, and see how it compares to a trumpeter swan. Just please don't poke anybody in the eyeball.
Don't be a trumpeter swan. Rude. Tegan, I haven't seen a single turtle.
I haven't even seen. Sad.
Not a single fallen tree turtle.
Oh, look at that there. Oh, look at the tree that fell over.
Now we're heading back out towards where we started. You can still see the meadow on our left. We'll be going back around Horseshoe Lake. There is a pond on our right. This is a year-round pond, even though it's kind of small. So it does have a resident turtle. It's a pretty big turtle. It's a western painted turtle, so it's a very handsome fella. Sometimes you can see him in the grass or sitting on a log. It's kind of hit or miss whether you'll see him on a rainy day today. Oh, mountain goat still on our left. I'll slow down so we can see her. Mountain goat. She is starting to shed her winter coat, especially looks a little scruffy. The mountain goats evolved to live super high in the mountains, because you can imagine where that nice white coat would fit in, right? Maybe up in the snow. So she tends to live in the Plains tribes. We're not being nice about letting themselves be subdued properly by the U.S. government. So the government decided to kill off all the bison to leave them no choice but to leave their lands that the U.S. government wanted. Now we've got the bulls hanging out on the trees here. You see a nice big shaped L. So notice I have a 2,500 pound animal, and I didn't see it until I was 25 feet away, because he's standing still. Even though he doesn't have leaves and trees painted on him, he's just a solid brown, he still fits in.
Close the window.
Notice how this guy on my left, he made himself a little bit of wallow. He dug out all the undergrowth, made himself a little mud puddle lie in. They do that because it's comfortable. They want to lie in it because it feels good. They roll in the mud or the dust to make kind of a layer of
They were close,
mud
weren't
to
they?
protect them from the bugs. And sometimes during the breeding season, the males will go to the bathroom in that pile of mud and roll in it, because the female bison like that smell. That's like essence or boy bison perfume. And the good bison really like it. But for you human males, if you want to get a date when it comes to that time in your life, I do not recommend that particular method. Female humans are not so fond of that kind of perfume.
Great end. Don't laugh at poop fume. Poop
You
fume.
may notice that there's some antlers lying on the ground here and there. We leave them there on purpose. It's a very valuable food source. So the elk and the deer and the caribou need to get enough calcium to grow their antlers, so sometimes they'll chew on their own antlers after they fall off. Other animals will also chew on the antlers. If you're a raccoon or a muskrat or even a bird and you need calcium in your diet, it's a good way to get it. You can't just go to CVS and buy a bottle of
You're staying antlers
supplements. You
going
gotta
to
find
the
some
growing
place in
new
the wild to get
antlers.
it. And the antlers are a good source of calcium and phosphorus. And meat herds. There's only about 5,000 left in the wild. And they're almost all in Yellowstone and parts of Montana. The elk also were hunted, but the elk were hunted for sport. They were almost extinct by 1900. And they were saved by President Roosevelt. He enacted a law where a president could create a national monument to set it aside for future generations. And he did that with Olympic National Monument, which became Olympic National Park. That's what saved the Olympic elk, as it was called then. And that's when it was renamed from the Olympic elk to Roosevelt elk, which is its name now, in honor of the president that saved them. So I asked you a question earlier about what happened to the forest that was here before the 1900s, and most of you had guessed already. The answer is logging. The old growth forest that was here 200 years ago, it had probably been uninterrupted for the most part for 20,000 years or so. It was all cut down by 1910 to make lumber for our homes and for the growing Puget Sound region. And then in 1924, something else happened. Some of you might have guessed that, and that something was fire.
Aliens.
So as you go up here in the ridge, you can see a lot of evidence of both. You can see stumps left over from the logging. Some of the stumps still have axe marks and chisel marks from the loggers, and some of the stumps still have char from that fire in 1924. So it's kind of an interesting glimpse back in time. Here in the free roaming area. Just love the view of Ohop Valley. And we see about 2 miles right now to the far ridge. If you were a mountain goat on a clear day, you could see a predator coming from that far ridge, 2 miles away. They have excellent eyesight, 8 times better than our own. Or bighorn sheep, did I say mountain goat? Bighorn sheep have excellent eyesight, 8 times better than our own.
What's wrong with it?
This is ridiculous.
Wait, this is what you
In fact, one of our
This is your
bighorn sheep, speaking of bighorn sheep, had an accident up here a few years ago. He
living the dream,
had a crush on a particular ewe, was chasing her all over the place. She didn't like him at all, so she'd run from him. And he'd chase her, she'd run, he'd chase her, she'd run. They're right all the way up here. She got tired of him, ducked her on a tree, ran the other way. He was so busy watching where she went, he wasn't watching who was going. He fell all the way down to the bottom, all the way down to First Meadow. He was okay. It didn't hurt him any. He just missed the U-turn.
chasing
I guess, kiddos, that was a bad joke. I tell it anyway. You may notice there's a neat little tree here with a bump in the middle of it. That's where Sasquatch wasn't watching where he was going and bumped his head, left his bump. No, I'm just kidding. It's A tree that grew on a nursery log, much like the one that's right down to my left right now. Nursery log is a log that's reached the perfect state of decay to become an excellent home for a young...
Even higher.
I would be going like this right now, so if I was like a cloud, I would be going like this right now.
What? Godzilla?
So those of you on the left, you can look up, you can see a stand of white trees up there. Those are dead madrona trees. They turn white if they stand long enough. So remember, a tree that's dead and standing, we call it a snag. If it's dead on the ground, we call it a deadfall. Both perform excellent and important roles in the forest, even after they're no longer alive. Madrona trees, for example, make excellent nests for animals that like to build big heavy nests because they're so strong. But they also become a drum for woodpeckers. Woodpeckers, some of the breeds of woodpecker don't necessarily sing to attract a mate. They'll play a drum song on madrona because it sounds better than a live tree does. Well, a live tree makes like a dull funk, doesn't carry very far. Madrona tree makes a nice tenor sound and it carries much further, so he'll play his ladies a serenade on a madrona tree.
Don't think that green will do that.
Don't think the green what?
Great and go.
Green cheese in the sea or something.
Oh, you turn. Sit still and look for animals.
No, you're not.
So most of you who are from the Pacific Northwest probably have had encounters with stinging nettles. Those of you who are not, if you do encounter a stinging nettle, it's uncomfortable, it won't harm you, it won't make your leg fall off or anything, but it burns. If you're out in the woods and you can't access a sting or burn kit, there's some things that you can do to make it stop hurting a little sooner. One of those things is you can find a Bracken Fern. Bracken Fern is a fern with a single stalk.
Oh god, yeah.
It grows up, doesn't stay year round, it dies off. It looks kind of soft and sometimes curly. There's some Bracken Ferns on my left. Sword Fern is the one that sticks around year round, has the real stiff fronds. So the Sword Fern doesn't work, Bracken Fern does. If I sound a little distracted, it's because I'm looking for the moose. I heard they were up here, but I don't see them. So hopefully we'll see them down below. They hide extremely well for a 1,000-pound animal.
They might be down.
Another thing that you can do if you get stung by a stinging nettle is you can find a banana slug. A banana slug is a bright green or yellow slug with a huge mantle that has a frill and a keel. You can find out more about banana slugs at the Chain Discovery Center. But the banana slug has a natural numbing agent. And you can rub some banana slug slime on there and it'll numb your skin so it doesn't hurt anymore.
I will crochet.
Awesome.
Rub it on your stinging nettle.
Rub it on my stinging nettle.
Stinging nettle.
Oh my gosh. Just run up.
If you guys see that sign and are wondering what a licorice fern is, it's an itty-bitty fern that grows on the sides of trees and the crooks of trees are shown right on my right here. I pointed it out because it is called licorice fern because the root tastes like licorice. I've tried it, it does taste like licorice. It also tastes a little bit like dirt, so I probably should have washed it off a little better. But it was a common sweetener for early settlers and Native Americans. So remember, if you're living off the woods, if you were here 200 years ago, you couldn't just go to the store to get some CNH sugar or buy some Fruit Loops with high fructose corn syrup in them. You had to find something that was naturally sweet. So you had to either wait All berries were in season. Right now it's salmon berries. Or you had to find a root that was sweet. Or you had to go rob a beehive, which is always a dangerous undertaking. Because remember, 200 years ago, we didn't have EpiPens either. Another interesting thing about this forest, if you look down to the right, it looks like it's mostly Douglas fir trees and cedar trees. If you look up to the right, it's almost entirely alder trees. And the firs and cedars are up there on the younger side. The reason why is because where the alders are is where that 1924 fire burned super hot. And when a fire burns hot, it leaches all the nitrogen out of the soil. So the other trees, like the cedars and the firs, can't survive. There's no nitrogen. But the alder tree has a symbiotic relationship. That means that the two species help each other with a bacteria. So the tree feeds nitrogen from the air to the bacteria. The bacteria digests it into a form that the tree can use and fixes it into the soil. So the bacteria literally fertilizes the ground that its home grows in. So I used to think alders were kind of a weed tree because they grow fast, they like wet, and they don't live very long. They only live about 90 years. But it turns out that they can actually fertilize the forest after a natural disaster. So sections of forest where you see 100-year-old Douglas fir trees and cedar trees, those are sections of the forest that did not burn hot enough to leach the nitrogen out of the soil. So it's kind of neat. There's a lot of things that you can tell about the history of a section of forest just based on what trees are growing where. That's also the reason why you see a lot of trees dead and down here, is because our alder trees are getting towards the end of their life.
Isn't there a kind of tree called olive tree?
I can't tell if it's an Alaska moose or Idaho moose. I'm going to go kind of slow. Maybe she'll decide to hang around.
Because you got told to sit.
This looks like our Alaska moose. Alaska moose is the tallest subspecies. They can get up to 7.5 feet at the shoulder. Compare that to a tall human who's 6 foot tall. These guys can get 7.5 feet tall. And the big males can weigh up to 1,800 pounds. This girl's about 1,000 pounds. So moose are the tallest land mammals in North America. Remember, the bison are the heaviest by weight, and moose are the tallest. So she has those long legs, her knees are kind of high. She has big wide feet, so she's quite comfortable walking around in that lake. She has a dense waterproof coat. She's not bothered by the rain much at all. In fact, she's enjoying the cool down. It's great to come on a cool day, because on a hot day, I've never seen the moose on a hot day. And so she has those long floppy lips and a specially designed nostril so that she can actually wrap those lips around plants and she can eat them underwater and plug her nose so she doesn't inhale any water. She has excellent eyesight. And that moose, even though she looks kind of gawky and lanky, she's an extreme athlete. She can dive to the bottom of Pothole Lake here. She can dive up to 18 feet deep. She can swim for 8 miles without even seeming tired. I've seen the male moose swim across Horseshoe Lake, and he swam all the way around the long way just for fun. And when he was swimming, a good third of his body was out of the water. He just floated. So they swim quite effortlessly. They can stand up and reach 12 feet up in a tree. And they've been recorded trotting 6 miles an hour all day long without even seeming limping. So, very athletic animal, a very big athletic animal. So she needs 27,000 calories every single day just to stay alive. Yes. That's a lot. That's like 47 Big Macs. If I could eat 47 Big Macs every day and survive it, I would be as big as a moose too. But maybe not as tall. If you've ever tried to eat vegan, you know how hard it is to get that many calories just with vegetables and plants. There you go. So the moose, their biggest challenge is finding enough food to feed that massive appetite. So they need rich, lush, green foliage all year round, and they need healthy foliage year round. And that means they need access to wetlands or areas around wetlands, because that's the only places that have enough good food all year round. So their biggest obstacle is habitat loss from being able to find enough wetlands because they build houses on them and fill them in. But also freeways. Freeways are kind of a common problem with a lot of our animals. From the moose, the mountain goat, and the caribou especially. So Washington State is trying to help that a little bit, ameliorate it by building animal overpasses over I-90. The first ones I think are scheduled to be finished in 2019. So if they work, hopefully a little bit more, and the artificial population bottleneck will be eased. We got the male caribou to our left, about 11 o'clock up here in
They're in the trees.
first car. They have those big handsome antlers. Notice how their big handsome antlers are about the size of an elk, but the caribou are only about 3 foot tall. The females are all in their own enclosure right now so they can have their babies safely. Who knows what we call caribou when they're domesticated?
Reindeer.
Who knows what they're called?
Reindeer.
Reindeer, yeah. So reindeer and caribou are the exception to the rule of the boys only getting antlers, the females get antlers. About 40 to 60% of the females in a herd might get antlers. Nobody knows why. And anything.
He's going crazy. He hears people.
He did it. Take a left. You failed.
No, he took a left.
Crazy old Wolverine.
No, come back
And
to
then
right.
look at the
There's raccoons over here.
The Wolverine and the raccoons over here.
How do they not crawl out of there?
Exactly.
I think there's an electric wire in there.
Did you push your mom to let Ranger out or somebody or you dad?
Hello,
Nope.
raccoon.
We all
I
go
see
down
it.
there so we can look at
I
them
see
up
the
close.
raccoon right here, Dad.
I know. We're going to end up getting down there where they're close.
Can they put it here?
That's right in
Porcupine,
there.
where you at,
It's right in
bud?
the corner over there.
Porcupine.
Oh, there it is. It's right back there.
Oh, yeah.
Go climb there and go touch
Showing us its foot. Okay.
Can I go touch it?
Porcupine butt.
It's not.
Yeah, just don't pet it the wrong way. It's sitting next.
It sleeps on a bed of sawdust.
What's that?
How does he get out?
That little
He
hole
doesn't
right
use
there,
trap
maybe?
He's murdered. I wonder what that hole leads to, Grady. Oh my gosh, it's so cute.
It's yummy.
You're so cute. I thought he was yelling.
Probably deadly.
Weasel.
Probably dead.
Beaver's not in there. Fisher.
Damn.
It's in the den.
Get it, beaver? Damn.
Over here.
Oh.
Damn.
They have no beaver kids.
That's probably why it says quiet, please.
Yeah, it says our kids have arrived. You shush. Caw. Caw.
Here, we can see over here. Oh, jeez.
Did you see the thing where they have for the cans that are made of biodegradable, like food for marine life? So if they get wet or whatever, that the
Cool.
the animals can eat them. That
Stupid animals.
when people litter.
So they just eat them like a goat.
No, so like they go around the cans
Yeah.
or whatever, you know. But it's made of this biodegradable like, food.
Schmutz.
They have a little slug on their wall.
Gross. Can you what?
Can I touch one of those?
No, Graydon, they're deadly poisonous.
Yay! Dad, look at the Wolverine's over here.
It's still running.
Getting this exercise in. Cardio day.
It's my last day of 21 Day Fit.
No, it isn't.
It's day 20.
Won't stop.